Let's jump right into this explainer. Have you ever noticed this totally confusing reality in your own life? You step into work and just effortlessly crush incredibly complex problems. You organize this massive, multifaceted project, or maybe you sit down and learn a highly complicated technical skill in, a matter of hours? Yet when you get home, the simple act of taking laundry out of a basket and putting it in a closet feels like you're literally being asked to climb Mount Everest. Baffling, right? Well, today we're unpacking exactly why this happens and why your highly capable mind sometimes hits a total brick wall on the easiest chores imaginable.
Seriously, ask yourself, why does folding laundry feel like climbing a mountain? Why does something requiring practically zero physical effort feel so incredibly daunting? Or, hey, maybe you've experienced this one. You get a simple, friendly text message. Instead of taking the 3 seconds to type a reply, you leave it on read for 3 entire days. The mere idea of formulating a response just feels way too exhausting. It's this painful paradox, and honestly, it leaves so many highly intelligent people feeling deeply frustrated with themselves.
Okay, let's dive into this. Most people look at those unread texts, or that pile of laundry, and they instantly label you as lazy, scattered, or just hopelessly disorganized. But look beneath the surface, and psychology reveals something completely different. When highly intelligent people struggle with everyday tasks, it is rarely a sign of laziness. It's actually a fascinating byproduct of how a complex brain processes reality and reward. Your brain isn't broken, it's just craving complexity.
To truly understand this, we need to look under the hood of your cognitive engine. Section 1, the dopamine deficit, missing the reward.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast in how different brains experience the exact same mundane chore. Highly intelligent minds process information extremely quickly, so when a task is too easy or predictable, the brain actually stops releasing stimulation chemicals, like dopamine. For an average brain, finishing a routine chore offers a nice, satisfying little dopamine hit. But for a highly intelligent brain, repetitive, simple tasks actually register as mentally painful. You lose interest fast, you disengage without even meaning to, and unfortunately, society just unfairly misunderstands this as a lack of discipline.
Here's the thing, your brain fundamentally requires complexity, challenge, and novelty just to stay engaged and online. Think of it like a high-performance sports car engine. When a task lacks mental challenge, your motivation just completely disappears. Why? Because your brain is making this rapid subconscious calculation. It's basically telling you that the action simply isn't worth the cognitive energy required to even start it.
And that brings us to our next hidden mechanism. Section 2, mental battery, draining energy. Think of your mind as having a battery that is constantly being drained by heavy background apps. Highly intelligent brains are built for continuous processing. You are constantly, and I mean deeply, analyzing the information around you. You're running endless mental simulations of how different scenarios might play out. You're continuously thinking about the long-term consequences of your actions. And psychology shows us that this sustained, deep thinking isn't just abstract. It consumes a massive amount of real, physical cognitive energy. It is a heavy, heavy burden. So, by the time you actually need to do something incredibly simple, like make a basic phone call or finally clean up your room, your mental battery is already completely exhausted from hours and hours of that invisible internal work. I really want you to understand this. If you find yourself resting on the couch surrounded by clutter, you aren't resting because you avoided physical work. You're resting because your highly active brain already worked overtime before you even thought about picking up a broom.
All right, moving on to Section 3, the perfectionism trap, overcomplicating things. Because a fast-processing brain often overcomplicates incredibly simple things. High IQ individuals possess what psychologists call hyperconnectivity. This is when a mind naturally examines every single angle and connects multiple, seemingly unrelated ideas all at once. Because your brain operates this way by default, a simple task rarely feels simple. Your mind immediately expands the scope of whatever is right in front of you, and that directly ties into an exhausting, deep sense of perfectionism.
And this brilliantly illustrates how hyperconnectivity plays out in real life. Let's say someone texts you, "Hey." You don't just type "hey" back. No way! First, you analyze their tone. Second, you consider the broader context of your entire relationship history. And third, you try to construct this airtight, absolute perfect response. Your incredibly high internal standards turn a simple message into a terrifyingly complex puzzle. Intelligent people constantly hold themselves to these incredibly high standards, instantly noticing flaws and feeling deeply dissatisfied with just average results. Therefore, you delay simple actions. Why? Well, because of a secret fear of imperfect execution. You wait for the exact right mood, or the perfect conditions, or that ideal block of uninterrupted time to start. But as we all know, waiting for perfect conditions just leads to incredibly heavy procrastination.
Which brings us to our final hidden mechanism. Section 4. Ambition mismatch. Future-oriented minds.
You see, a complex mind is inherently fueled by the anticipation of what's to come. Your brain's reward system is tuned strictly to major outcomes. It gets massively energized when anticipating long-term goals, big ideas, and true success. But daily routines like paying a simple bill or taking out the trash, those boring processes rarely trigger a dopamine response. Big ideas trigger intense motivation, but daily routines, they instantly cause it to evaporate. Because of this mismatch, you are what the source material beautifully calls selectively disciplined. It's such a powerful phrase. It perfectly explains why you can sit down and focus intensely for 6 straight hours on a deep interest, a creative pursuit, or a major professional goal, but remain completely paralyzed by the basic chore of unloading the dishwasher. Your discipline isn't absent. It's just highly selective based on the anticipated reward. So, the crucial point is, it's time to reframe how you view your own daily struggles. Section 5. The cost of depth. Reframing struggles. If you constantly find yourself paralyzed by the simplest tasks, I want you to let this sink in. You're not lazy, and your mind is absolutely not broken. You carry a highly observant, deeply processing brain. You are simply hungry for real challenge and real meaning. Your struggles with mundane, everyday chores aren't inherent flaws in your character. They are simply the cost of your cognitive depth. The goal of this explainer is to show you exactly why your mind works the way it does. We aren't interested in labeling you as difficult, and we certainly aren't here to offer fake motivation or surface-level life hacks. We want to offer real psychological insight so you can stop fighting your own nature. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought from our source material. Now that you know the hidden mechanisms, you know the dopamine deficit, the invisible mental battery, hyperconnectivity, and that ambition mismatch, how will understanding your mind change the way you live within it? When you stop judging yourself for being lazy and start accommodating a brain that simply craves complexity, well, everything changes. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I truly hope this new perspective brings you some much-needed clarity.